Hello YouTube and hello Ninth Age community. This is Charles with Airshade Gaming and this is another Ninth Age battle report. Now this is going to be something a little different. This is Buckeye Battles Game 3 and I'm just going to straight up tell you that this game was a 20-0 loss for me. And it's hard telling me that. No, I'm just kidding. It's a little strange, I know. I hope that doesn't turn away any viewers. But I think it's going to be really important in this game to say, like, where I think I really went wrong, what I probably could have done better, maybe talk about a couple of the dice rolls that really affected it, and just kind of show the really interesting meta clash that we had here between these two lists. So let's look at my opponent's list. My third round opponent at Buckeye Battles was Mr. Lenny, the Tyrant himself, Mr. Lenny Strakowski. I don't even think I've ever said his last name, honestly. I think I said that right, Strakowski. Anyway, Mr. Lenny, the Tyrant, he's playing his Beastard's army, and his first character is a Beast Lord with the Fatal Folly, Basalt Infusion, Talisman of Shielding, and the Eye of Dominance. So the Eye of Dominance, pretty powerful. Fatal Folly, you don't really see that a lot. It's the attacks made with this are magical. Free skill combat attacking. It's the wielder that rolls a natural 1 to hit. The wielder must perform another close. Basically, if somebody rolls the hit against him, they get a 1. He gets to hit him again at strength 6 because he's got a B stack. So yeah, it's interesting. It's not too bad. He's on a Razor Chest Chariot, which is always really good for Beast Lord character. I don't think he has any of the extra ambushing abilities. Yeah, it just looks like he's... Yeah, I don't see the Hunter's Horn or whatever that thing is called. He's got a Wizard Master on Shamanism with a Binding Scroll and the Seed of the Dark Forest. And then he also has another Wizard Master with Evocation. So he's rocking a double Master. And then he's got a Beast Chieftain with the Alchemist Alloy, Dust Forge, Dragonfire Gem, and the Aether Icon. So this guy's, he's on a raiding chariot, so he's got a 1-up rerollable, 2-up against flaming, and, -1 for, a little bit of magic resistance too. So honestly, the only thing he doesn't want to get hit by, is cannon or bolt thrower. Other than that, that guy's pretty tough to kill. And then in his core, he's got 10 Mongol Raiders. You can guess what their role is. They are the Wizard Bunker. He's got 2 things of 15 Wild Horns. 1 with the banner Discipline. That's interesting. I didn't even notice that before this game. And then 3 Raiding Chariots in core. He's got 2 things of 5 Gargoyles. 5 things of Feral Hounds. 6 Minotaurs with the banner Speed. Minotaur are probably full command. Yeah, Musicians. Yep, boy, yeah, Musician Standard. Champion, the Blackwing Totem. Actually, so that's 2 things of 7 Minotaurs. Yeah, basically same kit. And that's his list. So, yeah, really interesting list for Beast Herds. 2 Ambushers, unit of 3 Chariots, 2 characters on Chariots, 2 things of 7 Minotaurs, 3 units of Chaff, double Master combo, Shamanism, Evocation. Very interesting Beast Herd list. I'm pretty sure we looked at this list, because I know we didn't put out a full list review. We did like half a review and we didn't put anything out for it. But I remember we looked at this and I feel like, our resident Beast Herd player thought it looked a little strange. I thought it looked a little strange. After playing it, I have a lot of respect for it. I mean, obviously, I've already said this list 20 owed me. But man, double masters, they are just an interesting thing in the meta right now. This is my, Empire Sonnstahl list. I just want to, put a picture in for you guys to see. This is a question I had. Do you guys like the kind of the list review style of kind of like scrolling through the list, or do you think just the slide is better, where it's all laid out and I can just go through it one by one? What do you guys think? Obviously, if I look through a whole list on in a specialized format, I can read any of the special rules if somebody's not familiar with them, for like a magic enchantment. It's really up to you guys. What do you think? Just let me know in the comments below. And yeah, this is my list. Get a good look at it. I talked about it in the first video I did for Buckeye Battles. A couple videos ago, I went, pretty depth in review of it, but it's pretty similar to what I've been playing on the channel for a while now. Deployment for round 3 Buckeye Battles was marching columns, and the objective was capture the flags. I won the role to pick table signs, and my opponent got to choose who deployed first. He chose himself. And let's start looking at deployment. In the battle report business, a twofer. I get to show you the first unit he dropped for his marching columns, these little dogs, and I get to show you a nice picture of his crotch. So that's pretty cool. Uh, it's just good old Lenny being Lenny. So yeah, he dropped his dogs first, and as you can see, he actually. I thought this was really strategically beautiful. He put them like a third up the table, and I was like, you can't put anything else past that. And he was like, and I was like, that's like your whole corner. You're not going to deploy. And he's like, yeah, huh. I was really surprised, and he really, honestly, the man out deployed me again. We're going to talk about all the ways this man not only beat me very soundly, but also, outplayed me, but also out-deployed me. So, yeah, I feel like he was already playing mind games with me in deployment. And the thing I didn't even think about was, marching columns is, everything center has to be over, but your characters can go where they want. So he was able to put that. His beast lord is next to his dogs. So he put his dogs down first. I want to say he put his minotaurs down, or that one unit of minotaurs down, and then he put the little wizard bunker down. And I think I put some riders, some crossbowmen, and I think I just decided like, all right, well, let me put my knights here. And or maybe I didn't put. Yeah, I probably no. I put one of my units of knights as a Sun Griffin down. I'm pretty sure. And then he put everything else. And then I put everything else. So he's got his, starting with from the right to the left. We'll go through it the full way. His Beast Lord on a Razor Crest Chariot, 5 Feral Hounds, 7 Minotaurs, full command, 10 Mongrel Raiders with his two Wizard Masters in it, and I believe that forest in front of his, or that little piece of terrain, I believe that is his Seed of the Dark Forest that he's already put down too in this game. Or maybe that'll come up a little bit. His BSB, next, sandwiched between Minotaur blocks. The second Minotaur block, his unit of chariots, and then his 2 gargoyles just safely being behind everybody. So looking at my deployment, yeah, so I believe I started out with the riders, and he's got 2 ambushing Wildhorn units too. We can't forget about that. So I'm pretty sure I just started with my riders, and then I thought, I had a Minotaur target, so I thought, let me put my crossbowmen down, and I was thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna mind putting my knights in the rune. Like, let me put them there. So that's how I deployed everything else, and decided I put my riders all the way over to the left. I don't know why. That was just another bad deployment move. So I have, riders, light infantry with crossbows, 3 Knights Sun Griffin trying to protect them from ambushers. My knights ready to charge out against minotaurs. My Wizard Master, 3 more Knights of Sun Griffin, and my Steam Tank. Oops, sorry, go back. This is after Vanguards, so I moved the 1 unit of riders over because honestly there's no reason for them to be so far over. Moved one of the other ones up because I'm thinking maybe I'll try and wrap around, try and threaten those Wizard Masters with them. And he moves his hounds up so that he can do some chaffing turn 1. But first off, you always got to make sure before you play 9th Age, you limber up, that you stretch yourself out, especially when you're about to crush Empire Sonnstahl player. So, okay, that's where his Seed of the Dark Forest goes. Okay, yep. So he did have that forest in the middle already, or we had a forest already in the middle. Alright, so, yeah. Beast Surge turn 1. The hounds come up to chaff me. The everything moves up, so that it's close enough to charge, but not be too close so it can't get countercharged. I think he's sitting maybe like 15 inches away from the steam tank. maybe even 16, so that I just couldn't, roll like, the 5-2-3 and get in there. But yeah, he's close enough. He's not very far away, but he's not super close either. There's respectable charge distance. How about that? And yeah, the hounds come up to chaff my knights, and I don't know what I'm going to do about that. So turn 1, he gets Flux card 7. He gets a Totanic Summon off. He gets a Swarm of Insects on my Wizard Master. And I think this is the breath weapon, kills like 3 crossbowmen. And Empire Sonnstahl turn 1. Yeah, I put way too much thought into dealing with the Totanic Summon. Obviously, for an Empire player, they're pretty frustrating. So I basically, I'm pretty sure my idea was to quick form my knights and make it so that the Totanic Summon couldn't fit between my Knights of Sun Griffin and my knights to get into my crossbows. And then I think my plan was I'm just going to use my crossbows to get rid of his, or maybe try and use magic to get rid of the chaff in front of the knights. But if not, the crossbows can do it. Moved my riders up on the hill right there to kind of threaten his backfield. I think I was going to shoot his general. I'm almost like, why wasn't I shooting at his harpies? That was another mistake. Because, he's got 1 unit of chaff in front of my knights. He's not very far away. And he's got 2 more units of chaff ready to come up and just close off my movement. So, yeah, the Totanic Summon really messed with my mind here. I really was giving too much thought. But I was also just not really thinking about how I was going to win the chaff war in this game. I got Flux card 6, save 2 tokens. Again, I threw in Unity Divergence at these hounds, kind of hoping, I think they were outside of discipline range, and I was kind of like, oh man, if I just do like 2 or 3 wounds, like they could just run away because they're pretty low discipline, and then they could chaff him. I get it off. I only do 2. They stick around, and I also rolled 3 5s, and I lose the spell. So, like, that was pretty frustrating. Turn 1 Empire Magic set, and then I'm pretty sure that was all I was able to get off, because I had 2 magic missiles. I think I didn't take a picture of my I didn't take a picture of my cards, but I had Fireball, I had Ice and Fire, I had Unity Divergence, and I want to say I had Touch of the Heart, and then I still have my bound spells from the cart and my prelate. I shoot over here with my riders. This is actually they actually have a good target, to work on these chariots, and they kill a chariot. The chariots pass their panic test. And then, my crossbows are able to get rid of the rest of the feral hounds. Yep. And I don't think my cannon hits anything within its thing. So going into Beast Herd's turn 2, again, the chaff just comes up. So he brings up both units of chaff here. Mostly because he wanted to move his Minotaurs closer, but he didn't want to be so close that I could possibly overrun into them. So that's why he double chaffs. And if he wants, if I don't go into them, he can just charge him out of the way. The one facing forward can see my wizard. Or the one that's closest to my night block can see my wizard, and then the other one can see my can see my crossbow. So if they want to get out of the way, they can. And I'm pretty sure that, because they're a little slanted because of the terrain feature, I'm pretty sure that the front of the gargoyles is in the rune, so it does make it really difficult now for my light infantry to try and panic them off, because they have discipline, they're in hard cover, and they're hard target. So shooting chaff now with my crossbows really isn't an option from what I was seeing. And the Minotaurs made their charge into my steam tank, which that was, it was like a longer charge. And part of me is like, it's Minotaurs. Obviously, they can do a lot of damage. But Strength 5 AP2 against, Resilient 6 1-up isn't crazy good. And I was more than happy to let him come in there and let me grind against him for a bunch of turns before he, eventually kills it. But I was thinking if I can get 2 or 3 turns out of grinding that unit, at that point the Knights of Sun Griffin might even be able to go inside and take him down. We'll see if I can get to that or not. He gets Flux card 4 for his magic. And he gets Awaken. Sorry. Oh, and the other big thing that happens too, totally forgot about this, is both his ambushers come on, and they come on so that they can throw all their throwing weapons at my 5 riders on the hill so that like I can't, go after his wizard bunker next turn. So, yeah, he gets Flux card 4. He gets Awaken the Beast off for the strength on his Minotaurs. Again, and I didn't take a good picture of his magic cards either, but let me go into... So, I mean, he's got double masters, so he's got 8 spells. From Shamanism, he's got, Break the Spirit. I think he's got all the good Shamanism spells. Break the Spirit, Totemic Summon, Awaken the Beast, and Swarm of Insects. And then from Evocation, he has the 2 Snipe spells, Reroll to Wound, and Whispers of the Veil. So he's got 2 Snipe spells he can throw at all my characters, and my characters are so vulnerable to the Evocation Snipe spells because only one that has an Aegis save, baked in is the Prelate. Really tough on my characters because they normally rely on that 1-up armor save. So he's got 2 good Snipe spells, and he's got two powerful and like a 1 really good debuff with -1 resilience, -1 discipline, and the reroll to wound. So he gets Awaken the Beast off, and I want to say, some of the turns too is, he's got to see the Dark Force too. He wasn't in it this turn, but later on when he gets in it, oh gosh, it gets so hard when he's got +2 to cast, and he gets Spectral Blades off this turn too. And at this point, I'm pretty sure I saved all my dice to stop Spectral Blades, because the Lethal Strike and the Reroll to Wound is, killer, and I just couldn't stop it. So he just goes to town on the Steam Tank. I don't even think I got to attack, and he gets to go right into my Knights of Sun Griffin. At this point in the game, I was like, oh, I lost this game. It was like I couldn't even hold him up for a turn. He just smoked right through me. I want to say he even failed his hatred test. I want to say he straight up failed his hatred test, but he still smoked me. Just by, I mean, it was a combination of like good rolling and obviously the 2 spells and magic. But yeah, the Steam Tank's already gone turn 2. Wasn't even a roadblock for a turn. And now he's into the flank here, and I felt really screwed. So this is what it looks like at the end of Beastard's turn 2. Really not digging the vibe. He was also able to, in the shooting phase, kill 4 riders and panic them, or he killed enough to panic them. I think he killed 2, panicked them, and then I lost 2 more Endangered Strain. So I have 1 that could be an excellent piece of chaff right now, but I have to first make him rally on a 5. So this is what it looks like. Empire Sonnstahl turn 2. I decide, since like my shooting really isn't going to be an option anymore that can do anything, I just decide to use my light infantry to try and hopefully clear some of these gargoyles. That was my idea. And my rider does not rally, so he just kind of continues going forward. And yeah, I decided to charge my wizard into the Totemic Summon, mostly because I wanted him to get him as far away as possible from the Minotaurs, who are, again, like, they smoke the Steam Tank. Those Knights of Sun Griffin don't stand a chance in the flank. He's got all those buffs up. Yeah, it's just, it felt really brutal. And I want to say the previous turn, he had put the Totemic Summon in the rear of my Knights of Sun Griffin. And, with all the Knights of Sun Griffin attacks, I couldn't kill it either. Which I'm hitting on 3s and wounding on 4s with the Sun Griffin. So, I guess they don't always kill it, but there's a chance where, I feel like there was a chance where it's I probably should do it, and I didn't, and I had it. At least I didn't break from combat and flee, right? They turned around, and they're still fighting it. Yeah, but Totemic Summons, man, what can you do? Best spell in the game. And then I just turn my knights to face the Minotaurs that are going to destroy my Knights of Sun Griffin, and I also made it sure that he can't charge past my knights into my wizard, because I really didn't want to, like, it's like I feel like I'm already bleeding points. I didn't want to, like, just leave my wizard out in the open so that, the 7 Minotaurs could smoke him. I get a Flux card 1. I just get the 5-up Aegis off against this unit, in case he's thinking about putting the Minotaurs in. Obviously, I didn't really have a lot of good... I really didn't have anything to do with magic either, because I just... I put my wizard in combat. Again, there's so many mistakes I made in this game. I feel like I'm just like, it's like a mistake left and right. Bad dice all over the place too. Shoot over here, and I'm able to kill another chariot. They stick around. I'm happy. I'm at least trying to get some points somewhere. This is a perfect transition. They're here. They're not here. The Minotaur's turn. Yeah. Yep. And the amazing thing too is, like, this rider has survived like so many dangerous terrain tests too. I want to say when he fled again, he had to take almost like 3 more DTs, and he survived them all. And he actually ends up it's like one of those things that you think feels lucky, and then watch him actually be a bane for me in this next turn. Because on the next turn, sorry, not quite there yet. In combat, the light infantry beat the gargoyles. They get them to flee, and then they just, like, they don't catch them. I think they only go 7 inches, and I think they only went 7, and I decided I didn't want to pursue them because I'm in the flank of the other gargoyles, and I was nervous that I wouldn't be able to chaff the Minotaur unit that was the problem. Is I wouldn't have been able to chaff the Minotaur unit in that case. So I decided to just reform and let them get away. Sort of another mistake. I don't know. I feel like I just didn't have any good options at this point. Because it was either, like, I could go into these gargoyles, I sort of maybe chaff his BSB for a turn, but his Lord would be able to make, like, not even that long of a charge against my Knight block, and the Minotaurs probably would have been able to, or easily should have been able to wheel past my light infantry and just go into the back of the Knight block too, because I'm so long. So I decided to just reform them and just make them as long as possible. And my hope is that, again, these guys might just be a roadblock for a couple turns because they're with 8 inches of my parent unit. So if the Minotaurs go in and they don't kill, like, what is it? He needs to kill, like, almost 10 or 12, and he's only gonna really get like 3 Minotaurs in. I'm kind of hoping that he only does like 10 wounds, and I just have 5 guys left because I think there was 18 going in. So he just can't kill 14. He just can't kill 14. He can, but he just can't do it. I need him to not do it, and that's not a good strategy, obviously. So this is Empire Sonnstahl turn. No, this is Beast Turd's turn 3, and a couple things happened here that I didn't quite capture. So he charges 1 Minotaur block into the light infantry. He moves his kind of Beast Lord around, and his Minotaurs in front of my Knights actually failed a frenzy check to, like, not charge my Knights. But when they fail a frenzy check, they can charge, like, like, they have an option what to charge. And they basically were able to choose that fleeing rider, make him flee again, and I think this time he fucking dies finally. And instead of, like, them going into my Knights, which I actually wouldn't mind in this case, because, like, I put up the 5-up Aegis, it'd be great for them to go in. Honestly, I think it would be kind of tough for him to do all that much. He might not have that much range to buff them. He's only really got 18 inches on a couple of his buffs. And I think I'd just win that grind, honestly. I know there's strength 5, but I would have a 3-up, 5-up. My character would do a bunch. Like both my characters would do some wounds. My Knights would do some wounds back. I honestly would think there would be a good chance of me just winning that combat by a little bit and possibly getting him to flee. Fortunately, that's not the case. He was able to just redirect to the rider. The rider flees. He dies now. And then he's able to chaff me again with his gargoyles. So again, I'm just so out chaffed this game. Part of that, I think, really went down to him being able to go first and kind of dictate the pace of the game, and me having to like try and react to like the Totanic Summon, but really out chaffed, not putting the right damage into the chaff units to try and get rid of them, and yeah, just really just struggling to deal with how I can get into these Minotaur blocks. Beat them up, because I think one-on-one I really beat all the combat elements of this game. It's when they're able to surround me like this that I really start struggling. So yep, this is what the rest of the turn is looking like. He's just, he's got those two things of, I think I finally killed his chariot with my riders with the repeater guns, or maybe it moved back, or I'm not sure what it did, but there might be one chariot still alive up there. But yeah, everything's surrounding my knights, and I'm just having a hard time getting them into combat. Flux card 3, and this is when the evocation magic starts kicking my ass. So he gets hasten the hour off, and he puts only one wound on my BSB, nothing else on the rest of the characters. Again, so this was a nice break. The light infantry don't die too hard. They die, but they don't die too hard, and they're able to chaff the Minotaurs for a turn here. And I make a couple moves. So I decide to put my Wizard Master into the Gargoyles, because I'm like, I gotta get rid of them somehow. I chaff his Beast Lord with my Knights of the Sun Griffin, which are just a terrible matchup. They just can't do anything against him with high dominance. And my plan is basically to go into the Minotaurs with my Wizard Master, try and debuff him as much as possible and hold him up. And just again, it's the terrible part is it's like I'm looking forward to trying to get into combat somewhere else, but I still have another unit of gargoyles that can be in the way in the future. I get Flux card 7, save 1. I don't really think I do anything of significance magic wise. I think I might put some prelate buffs up, and I think I might put reduce the strength on the Minotaurs, because I do kill the gargoyles and I do go into his Minotaurs. Yep, looks like I got reroll the wound off. Yep, and I got perception of strength off to reduce his strength on the Minotaurs. And this is what it's looking like. Beast Herd's turn 4. So he just goes into my Knights of the Sun Griffin. He goes into my he brings his BSB into my Wizard, and he didn't chaff me right away. Oh, that's right. That's right. I charged my riders at the one unit of gargoyles that rallied. So this turn he actually couldn't chaff me. So there was like an option finally to charge, but I feel like I'm just all looking the wrong way sometimes. So yeah, there was like an option available to possibly charge, and yeah, so that's what happens. They do rally this turn though, I'm pretty sure. Evocation, one of the evocation ones, probably the one that hits all three of them, snipes, puts another wound on the Beast B, puts a wound on the Prelate. And then this was a really good move by him. I'm on the back of the board, and he just measured enough and made sure, and he was able to bring, summon the large Totemic Summon up within 10 inches, and chaffs me again. This man, he chaffed me so damn well. The Beast Lord doesn't go off the table, but he smokes the 3 Knights of Sun Griffin. And in combat, I don't think he challenged. And I actually stick around with my Wizard Master. So that was pretty interesting. So he just I think he just kind of whiffed a little bit. I had I have decent saves against his Minotaurs. They're kind of okay against his BSB. I think I had a 5-up against him. So yeah. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Oh, you know what? I think what happened might have happened the last turn of my knights as a sun or my knights is I think I did charge his minotaurs and they just fled. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. That's why they're all the way back there, and that's why he had to chaff me again. Yeah, because I really just wanted to get my knights out of this terrible side of the battlefield, but I couldn't because he chaffed me again. So this is Empire Sonsal turn 4 if I haven't made that clear. And my knights go into the Totanic Summon to get rid of it. My Wizard Master's still just trying to stay alive. Yep, there he is, fighting his heart out. There's Beast Lord is down off the table edge. There's me going to the Totanic Summon again. This time, my wizard breaks from combat, and he's able to run off the battlefield. And, yes, yeah. Which was kind of interesting he went off. So, this almost might be skipping ahead. I might have almost skipped Beast Herd's turn 5, because this might be him coming back on the field, me going into his gargoyles, chaffing me again, and yeah, just him repositioning and being able to chaff me once again, because again, I didn't take care of his flipping chaff. This is like really painful for me going through, but I'm really happy I'm doing it. It's almost cathartic being like, all right, this is where I messed up. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure I bring my riders over here because they did finish off the chariots. But you're gonna see how I ended up kind of screwing this up too. So I beat the gargoyles, and oh, that's right. I moved the riders there on my turn 5 because what I wanted to do was to go into the gargoyles and possibly chaff the because his turn 6 is coming up, so we only have one turn left. I wanted to chaff the minotaurs, but they failed a march block chest because let me go back when they came on. I was just close enough. It was just within 8 inches that I had to take a march block. And I don't even think this was like either of us was like not trying to do this or avoid this. Like I'm pretty sure Lenny didn't come on the battlefield. And if anything, I probably like positioned them for him because they're all the way on my side of the field. Like, and they were just close enough that I had to take a march block test. And I failed. And then I couldn't chaff because it's like I just couldn't move over far enough. And it was like, ugh. So frustrating. Ugh. Chaff needs, man, I feel like good chaff has to be able to move at least 9 inches then, huh? Because if you fail a march block test, you can still chaff something if you can move 9. Make riders advance. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So this is going into the last turn. On turn 5, he's able to charge everything at me because I couldn't chaff up his minotaurs with my riders. And yeah, it's just looking bad. I already lost my BSB the previous turn. I have a wound on my Wizard Master. I think I have 2 wounds on my Prelate. And he gets Flux Card 5. This is what the rest of the field is looking like. So, yeah, I think the only thing I killed on his side was his 3 chaff units, his unit of 3 core chariots. A very disgruntled picture of Whispers of the Veil gets off. A very clear picture of Waken the Beast gets off the Minotaurs. That might have even just been for toughness, but he probably got the strength one off. And they just go into my knights. They crush them. They kill them. I want to say I issued a challenge with my commander, and that's why he's still alive. But he's the only one left, and he flees from everything, and I'm pretty sure gets run down right here. And that's the end of the game, folks, because, I mean, on my turn 6, I probably got the, I probably didn't even shoot with my riders. It was like, what's the point? I'm not going to, yeah, I'd have to kill so many Minotaurs to get points out of them. And at this point, I'm pretty sure it was already like, yeah, you have 4,600 points from me? No. 4,700 because he got both my BSB and my general. Yeah, so just really big, devastating loss here. And this is the last picture of the battle. So yeah, as I told you everybody at the beginning of this video, this was a 20-0 loss for the Empire Sonnstahl. And, if you got like another minute or two, I'm just kind of go over where I think I went wrong. I feel like I had a few poor rolls. When I couldn't stop anything, his second magic phase, and the Minotaurs were able to just push over the steam tank. That was pretty rough. I know I saved dice to stop one of those spells, and I just couldn't do it. And I think he was having really good rolls, getting spells off, but dice are dice. Let's talk about what went wrong. So honestly, I think it's just started in deployment. When I saw he put his dogs down there, I kind of think I thought I knew what he was doing, and made a huge mistake, like trying to counter his deployment as he was doing it at first. Like honestly, I should have just threw a rider on the other side of the table and been like, I'm just gonna wait to see what you're gonna do, because especially it's so important to counter your opponent's deployment when they do drop first, and I didn't do this well enough, and it really cost me the game. Obviously, the chaff war was a really bad fight for me. He had more chaff. I really didn't use my chaff well. Honestly, the more I played this list at Buckeye Battles, the more I'm like, this list doesn't have chaff. These riders are too expensive, and what I'm trying to use them for, it's not a chaff. I'm trying to use them as an additional shooting unit. They're always on the wrong side of the table. They're always too far away to do anything. Really bad use of chaff this game. Like, honestly, the unit of 7 should have been right next to my knights, in between my steam tank. That's where they should have been. But I didn't put them there. Yeah, underestimating the double masters. This is kind of something I think is just new. I feel like it's a very new thing in the meta right now. Or at least it's in my experience, it's pretty new. I'm seeing it more often. Really powerful. I wish I could feel it. I feel like Empire Sonnstahl can't do it. Prove me wrong in the comments. Let's talk about it, share lists. But to me, we already invest so much in other characters. Trying to add another master, it just seems like way too much. I think some other armies just do it so much better. Beastard's already such an aggressive army. It's hard to have something else to go after those wizard masters, where Empire can be such a passive army, and it's so much easier to dedicate. Something small even could go into like a small Empire bunker with 2 wizard masters, but something small getting into 2 Beastard wizard masters might beat it, might not, honestly. They have some pretty good counters to the ways people can deal with wizards. And then, so I underestimated his magic, and I really did not utilize my magic at all either. I should have just, turn 1, I should have been targeting those gargoyles, trying to get them to panic. I know it's not very easy when they have like rerolls and good discipline nearby, but, at least trying to force my opponent to make a bad roll, other than, letting them just, keep coming into me and chaffing me later on in the game. So yeah, a few big mistakes right there. I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed the matchup between Beastards and Empire. I always have a tough time against Beastards. They're definitely like one of my Bane armies, and I think they're always just going to be one of my Banes. But I like playing against them because it's always challenging, it's always fun. So yeah, everybody, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Hope you enjoyed it, and you'll see me soon.